JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Thursday, December 11th, 9:17. Apologies, my voice a little feeling under the weather this morning. Anyway, so quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P in the red here, off the morning lows. One of those over the years, if you follow the Fed meetings, typically there's some wide swings. Typically, I mean, they happened after the Fed meeting, like after the statement and during the press conference. But then sometimes overnight, Wednesday into Thursday, there's swings, whether it be a huge gap up or a huge gap down. So there's always that fear, and you check in the futures overnight. I think at 11 o'clock they hit lows, SPY all the way down to 680, actually at 10 o'clock, and then kind of bounced, chopped around into the Europe Open at 330, back down to 681. And then we've been slowly melting higher. So is this one of those red to green sessions? That would be nice, or at least some consolidation. Um, Markets rallied yesterday. Didn't feel like it, but stocks chopped into the Fed meeting at 2 o'clock, cut rates as expected, 0.25%, and then Fed Chair Powell had to walk that tightrope like he always does, try and spin things somewhat dovish. But he did everything but say pausing rates, right? It's just, I guess the phrase you would say is wait and see. That's kind of what they're in. But to me, it's like he almost doesn't matter as much anymore, right? It's like a lame duck session for him as, his term ends soon. So probability for a rate cut at the January meeting, I think it's like 10%. So not even much priced in there. And then I think the next meeting's in March, and that one's like 40%. But, at the last Fed meeting before yesterday's, the probability for a rate hike at the December meeting was down to like the 20-30% range at times. So who knows what happens? Anyway, to me, he was able to walk that tightrope. Markets held up well, all things considered. So I think a good sign there. Then after the close, you had Oracle earnings. Oracle beat on EPS side, but revenues came in at a miss. And Oracle's not even about the earnings per se. It's more about the future, the debt, their RPOs, the performance obligations. So those went up to like $523 billion. And then similar to the Fed trying to appease concerns around rate cuts, Oracle kind of has to ease concerns or appease investors around their debt situation, right? So the big question is 5 years from now, how is all this CapEx spend going to get paid for, right? And, Oracle's built bringing it all on this debt because they're deal with OpenAI and have to supply all this capacity. What does that look like, right? So until we get there, no one knows for sure. But obviously, the market is speculating that it's going to continue to be a huge boom. But if not, then maybe we're at the stages of the AI bubble popping. But anyway, you see Oracle down. Considering where it is now, I thought the overall market would be down substantially more. It's sitting here at 192. Funny, I mean, the stock was at 335 back in September. Just remarkable reversal. I don't know if I'll look for some spec calls, but anyway, it's now that you have Oracle out of the way, now all eyes going to be on Broadcom after the close. Hopefully they can paint the rosy picture, post a monster quarter like they've been doing, and then markets can start to look towards all-time highs to end the year. So that's kind of overall market. Talk about the SPY, 679. That's kind of like my line in the sand. We're sitting here at 685 right now. Obviously a far reach to get there today, but you never know. If it breaks 679, I'll be looking for hedges. The names that I typically do, the Broadcom has earnings, the premiums are expensive. So tough to trade that one. So I'll probably, and I mentioned this yesterday, I'll look more towards doing the SQQQ calls, especially with the split, makes it a little more attractive as a hedge play. And Lam Research, AMD, and possibly ASML. All right, so that's overall markets. Quick on individual names. So yesterday morning with the chop, I wasn't trying to rush into any position, but I was watching Roku and I was watching SolarEdge. And then finally, once the Fed meeting came out as expected, markets looked like they were finding some footing. I went and got those SolarEdge calls, and SolarEdge just took off. It was 3140 or so. Within about 10 minutes at 3280. Frustrating, right? Because the market makers play games when you have spikes like that. And then if you do get and try and chase, then if the stock stays stagnant, the premiums just get destroyed. So we'll see how things play out. Hopefully, that's not going to be an issue if the stock rallies. Sold off into the end of the day, still closed up 3-4%. I like it for a move to 40 in the coming days. So, you have that whole backdrop in regards to the energy space. That's kind of one catalyst. Their earnings most recently was the other catalyst. And then you look at the chart and it kind of held that 30 handle the last 2 days. Looks like it's going to bounce. So you start looking at key levels. $36 is the 50-day moving average. Maybe it gets up there in the next day or two. And my voice is getting worse as I talk. I do apologize for that. All right, so that's SolarEdge. Then in the morning yesterday, with stock kind of stagnant. The market was chopping around, and Kodak looked like it was coming under a little bit of pressure. Didn't want to see the last of my profits go away on those December strikes. I closed those out for like 60%. I still have the January strikes. Just because I close it out doesn't mean I'm losing hope on the trade. Still like this one for a move into the double digits. Got close there on Tuesday. Maybe if we can find a bid here today, that'll be nice. And then Roku, right? Disappointing this morning. I wouldn't say disappointing. I kept looking at those 110 weeklies. I'm like, they were like 40 cents. I passed on them. Then I was looking for December 19th, 115s. Stock was at 102, then 104, then back to 102. And then I passed. And then sure enough, what happens this morning? You have Jeffries upgrading from buy to hold, from hold to buy, raising their PT to 130, and then Wedbush this morning raised their price target to 130. So not going to chase it here, right? But I do think it could trade post 110. If there's opportunities, I'll trade that one. And then I'm going to get off audio because my voice is really bad. I'm sorry. I sound like RFK here. But not funny. Sorry for the joke. Adobe posted earnings after the close yesterday. Actually, decent report. But to me, it's going to be a sign here today to see how the market's pricing in AI with Adobe, because it right now it's been pricing Adobe like at some point they're going to be irrelevant. So if it starts to find pressure at the open, I might look for some lottos to play on the put side. So we'll see how that one trades out or plays out. And that's it. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.